Hello everyone, Milton here. Tonight I'm going to be doing one of my music reactions. To the people who aren't familiar with my videos here, this channel, I grew up in a remote sort of religious, quasi-religious community, some would say a cult, in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, very remote, very cut off from things. So up until recently, when the DEA had broken up our group and a lot of us went our separate ways, some on our own, some behind bars. But anyway, since then, I've been trying to catch up on things, movies, music, books, you name it. And my third cousin Daniel, who I live with, suggested maybe I, make videos of this so I can find other people to connect with as I, get acquainted with the world. Now, I have done two reactions so far to Alip Ba Ta. So Alip Ba Ta is an Indonesian guitarist. Apparently he's just a forklift driver who does these videos, hanging out, looks like on break, with a cup of coffee next to him, doing these amazing acoustic guitar covers to songs that you'd never think could be played on one guitar. First, I watched, as people had asked me to do, his cover of Bohemian Rhapsody. Then I did his cover of Sweet Child of Mine. And I really like the cover of Sweet Child of Mine. Now, I had heard that song before because I work at a grocery store. I do overnight stock in a grocery store. And the guy I work with, his name is Phlegm. That's not his real name, but it's what he insists you call him. Anyway, Phlegm's a really big Guns N' Roses fan, so I had heard Sweet Child of Mine, so I decided that that would be the one that I'd watch. I actually showed that video to Phlegm as well to see what he'd think of it, and unfortunately he did not love the Alip Ba Ta cover of it. He said, and I quote, "It doesn't rock hard enough." I'd take that with what they call a grain of salt. Phlegm, he's a nice enough guy, but he's not exactly what you'd call cultured, and I'm saying that as a guy who lived in pretty much seclusion up until his early 40s. Seriously, Phlegm is a guy who gets angry at books. I don't mean certain books. I don't mean, he's angry because he's made to read books. If he sees a book, he gets angry. And if you're reading around him, he gets really irritated. Janice, who works with us, we were on break and she was reading one of those, I guess they're called paperback romance novels, like not exactly a big academic type read. She was reading that and Phlegm just couldn't stand it. He insisted that she stop because he just can't sit there when someone's reading. It bothers him. So because of that, I wouldn't take Phlegm's opinion to heart. I loved it. So that brings us to today's reaction video, which is to Alip Ba Ta's cover of Numb by Linkin Park. This is a song that I wasn't familiar with ahead of time. So I listened to the song a couple times, actually watched the video from Linkin Park. It was very different from music I had heard before. It was kind of like rock and roll, but there was like a guy with two records and everything too, and the sound was just different. Probably even more so than the last two. I'm very curious to see how someone would cover this with an acoustic guitar. It doesn't seem possible, but this seems to be a guy who with his guitar makes the impossible possible, so let's check it out. Again, it's how he gets all 10 of his fingers working like independently of each other. It's amazing. Wow. So I'm actually, by the way, curious where he is actually sitting. Like, is he at, like, his job on break or something? Because that's what I always get the idea of. Or is he at his house? I don't know. Or is he at his school? Because there's math problems on the wall behind him. One thing I noticed with these is, the drums are missing, right? I guess the percussion, you'd call it. It isn't a part of these songs, so it doesn't have the same, like, sort of like rhythmic thump. He adds a little, I think with tapping it, he adds a little rhythm to it, but it doesn't have that rhythm to it, but you take that out, he still seems to capture like the emotion of the song, because Numb was just sort of like this sad song. Even though it was kind of upbeat, it was sad. And I really feel that in this cover of it. So again, it's interesting because part of the song is, missing, but it still sounds complete. Did I just missed that? Was he like tuning it? Like in that one part of bing, like he tuned it to make that sound? Again, I don't know how to play the guitar, but that part where he was just, I mean, just what can you say? I mean, it's amazing. It really is amazing. Woo! He's killing it. What can I say? Another Alip Ba Ta video, another really impressive performance. Yeah, again, I really enjoyed that. In fact, that might have been my favorite of the three, because to me, when he was playing it, it was the same song, but it was a very different song. And I can imagine just listening to that version of it at night while like relaxing after coming home from work. Well, actually, for me, that would be the early morning after coming home from work, and just using that song to relax, because there's a certain energy to it to go with the sadness. I just really liked it. So there. Well, again, hats off, bravo to Mr. Alip Ba Ta. My next video, probably coming out just shortly after this one. This weekend, I will be making some Indonesian dishes. In previous videos in the comments, people had suggested dishes to me, certain types of Indonesian food that I could make. So please let me know what you'd like to see me try to make here, because truth be told, I'm not very good at cooking really just about anything. Growing up in the sibling brotherhood, the group I was in, we just basically boiled everything. Carrots, different meats, beets, beets. Any of those things we just boiled, and there wasn't much taste. So, things like Indonesian food, I'm really looking forward to what it's going to taste like, especially, again, when I'm doing it. Please, again, suggest some dishes to me. The next video is going to be me making myself an Indonesian meal. So remember to like, share, and most of all, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time when we're going to be getting into some Indonesian cuisine.